welcome back to my channel. I'm just a girl who likes reading romance, fantasy romance, paranormal romance, any kind of genre and romance in general. And I also happen to have cerebral palsy, and it would mean the world to me if you subscribe to my channel. Today's video is going to be my January mid-month wrap-up. I'm going to talk about all the books I read in the first half of January. The first 5 books I'm going to go through really quickly because I have a series review for all 5 books, and that series is the Runaway Series by Devin Perry. If you don't know what that series is, the Box children were the inspiration for that series. So I'll link the video down below in the description if you want to know more. The first book is called Runaway Road. The second book is called Wilde Highway. The third book is called Quarter Mile. The fourth book is called Forsaken Trail. The fifth book is called Dotted Lines. I am also going to go through the next book really fast because I mentioned it multiple times on my channel. And I got the audio arc for Heartless by Elsie Silver. The audiobook
I'll
was
link
great.
my
I'm glad I got
top
it.
10 romances of 2022 where I talk about Heartless. So you can watch that down below if you want to know more.
Did a really good job bringing Cade and Willa to life. Books I'm gonna mention is also part of a series. I read What You See and Soar High. It's part of the Sons of the Survivalist series, and it's by Cherie Sinclair. It's about these group of brothers trying to revive a town in their hometown of Alaska, and they're facing off against a sort of like a cult group. What You See is about the one brother who's a bartender in town, and he used to be ex-military. And Soar High is about the last brother. He's a pilot. And I can't really go more into detail because that will spoil the whole series. But these group of brothers go up against this cult, and they find romances while doing it, while trying to revive the town. So it's a really good series. Let me know down below if you want me to do a series review of the Sons of the Survivalist, because I really liked it. It has a great found family representation, and I like how all the brothers are different. I read this series because of Jen from the Book Refuge. But my favorite book in the series is Soar High, because the brother actually gets his romance with one of the women who got freed from the cult, and he takes care of her and the woman's son. So I really like the series. Please let me know down below if you want to know more about it. I'll make a video on it. The next book I read was called Remember Love by Mary Bellock, and I read this book because of Crystal from Crystal's Bookish Life. It's about Gwyneth and Devlin, and they're at a ball. They're about to confess their feelings for each other, and they do. They say they really like each other, and Devlin says to Gwyneth that he'll ask her father for her hand in marriage. But before he can do that, they go out into the balcony, and Devlin catches his father with another woman. He exposes his father's philandering ways through all the people at the party. Everyone in his family is so embarrassed, and even his mom. And he's like, I don't understand why you're mad at me. He's the one, the dad is the one, the father is the one that did something wrong and not me. But they are so embarrassed that they banish him from their estate. So Devlin has no choice but to leave, but when he leaves, he cannot fulfill his promise to Gwyneth of marriage because he was just so upset that his family never saw that he did the right thing, that no one took his side, so he's just heartbroken, and so is Gwyneth. So he goes off to fight in the French War, and then 5 years later, Devlin gets a note from his mother saying his father dies, that he needs to come back and be the earl and be the head of the family. So Devlin comes back with his other brother, because his other brother went with him, and they try to mend their family relationship because their family relationship was broken. And meanwhile, he meets Gwyneth again, and they reluctantly form a friendship again, and they start to get closer again. But Devlin does not know what he can offer Gwyneth because of what happened in the past, because they said something they both regret, and Devlin still doesn't think that he's good enough for Gwyneth. So they have the same problem that they did last time. It's a second chance romance, brother's best friend. I really enjoyed it. I love the angst. I read this because of Crystal. I give this 5 stars. Next, I read Control Freak by Brianna Hale. It's a boss secretary romance. It's about Stan and Lacey. Stan is looking for a secretary to help him organize his art show. One of his acquaintances said his daughter is really good at organizing stuff. She helped me plan my art show. So Stan hires Lacey. Lacey has anorexia. And one day, Stan catches Lacey eating by herself in the hallway. So he offers her his to eat in his office. He said, look, you can eat in my office. You don't have to eat in the stairs anymore. And Stan, I think that's his name, he notices Lacey's submissive tendency, then that she wears a choker. So they form a relationship, a romantic relationship and a BDSM relationship. And what I like about this book is that the relationship is not a cure-all for her anorexia. I give this book 4 stars. Next, I read Titan by Julian Graves. It is also a monster romance and BDSM, daddy kink. Juliana was this famous actress, but she's not anymore because her manager and her mother still keep stealing all her money. So she does different things to earn money now because she can't be an actress anymore. And one day she goes to this club and she meets Titan, who's a gargoyle, and he happens to be into the daddy kink, and Juliana doesn't think she likes it, but she realizes that she needs someone to take care of her, and it's about Titan trying to help Juliana be fine with the things she likes and trying to help her back on her feet because her manager and her mother stole everything from her. I liked it. It was cute. I gave it 4 stars. I liked how Titan stood up for Juliana against her manager and her mother, and he did it secretly. I read Poison Roses by Tate James, and it's a white shoes romance. It's a mafia romance, a rock star romance, and it's about Billy, who's homeless and doesn't have anywhere to go. One day she witnesses a murder that happened, and she notices her ex-boyfriend Angelo, who happens to be in the mafia. So she goes on the run away from all her troubles, and she ends up at this bar, and this guy named Rhett sees her, and she's having a hard time, and Rhett turns out to be the drummer in this famous band that she knows about because the lead singer used to be her ex-boyfriend, her first love at 16, because her, Angelo, and her first love had this thing going on as teenagers, but something happens to them that they have to split apart. I can't say anything more than that because it will ruin the plot, but I really liked it. It kept me on the edge of my seat, and this is the first book I read by Tate James. Next, I read The Muse. The Muse is about Ambre, who is a demon, and the higher demon that he works for tells him, I want a pure soul to come to our side so I can corrupt his soul. So the demon Ambry, I can't pronounce his name, it's Ambri. So he goes to the human world. He sets his sights on Cole because he is a painter, and he's supposed to corrupt Cole's soul, but as he spends time with Cole, he realizes that Cole is so innocent, and Ambry is really falling for Cole and Cole's artwork, and Ambry has to decide if he's really going to hand Cole over to his boss or see where this relationship can go. It is the second book in Emma Scott's Angels and Demons series. She said you can read it as a standalone, but I don't think so. It's an MM romance. Then I read The Obsession by Nora Roberts. It's about, I read it for Jess's book club. It's just a piece of books. I read it because of her book club, and it's my first Nora Roberts book, and it's about Naomi who follows her father into the woods one day, into the shack, and notices that there's a girl beaten and tied up. So when her father leaves the shack, she sets this girl who's been kidnapped and beaten, she sets her free, and meanwhile, and as she does that, she sees all these other pictures of girls on the wall. So she goes to the police and tells them what her father did, and it sets up a chain of events. Aubrey goes to live with her uncle and his boyfriend, along with her brother and her mother. Years later, when she turns like 16, her mother commits. She couldn't take it, so her mother dies. She takes her own life, and then as a result of that, Naomi becomes very reclusive. When she time fast forwards again, she's an adult now. She's a photographer, and she goes to this reclusive town trying to forget the past, but the love interest Xander takes a real interest in her, and he slowly gets Naomi to open up to him. But as they get to know each other, a murder occurs in town, and Naomi feels like it's happening all over again, like what happened with her dad. So I liked it. It was okay. I gave it 4 stars. Then the last 2 books I read is the first 2 books in the Spark House series by Lena Hunting. The first book is called When Sparks Fly, and it's a friends to lovers romance. It's about Avery and Declan. Avery and Declan have been friends since college, and they've never been anything more than friends. But one day, Avery gets into a car accident, and Declan volunteers to be her caretaker because they live together. They live in the same apartment. but as Declan takes care of her and they grow, and their friendship grows into something more, they realize that maybe they were never just friends after all. Maybe they secretly had feelings for each other. And the last book I read is called Starry-eyed Love, and that's the second book in the Spark House series by Helena Hunting, and it's about Sister London. It's an office romance, billionaire romance. The guy falls first, and it was very cute. I liked it better than the first book. Those are all the books I read in January. Please let me know down below in the comments if you have read any of these books. And I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel. That would mean so much to me. And I'll see you Friday. Bye.